I'm your host, Sarah Noel Block, and this is Tiny Marketing. Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah Noel Block, your host, and this is Tiny Marketing. Today, I have Josh Irons, who's going to be talking to us about an awesome topic. Are you someone who just launched a business? Or maybe you're part of the great resignation and you're leaving your business to start something on your own. You might be starting from complete scratch and not have a network already established. This is what we're talking about today. You're probably thinking, how do I begin? But you can. We all started from scratch at some point, and it's possible. You begin with networking and building out those people that you can work with and build relationships with. There's a reason that most people say that the majority of their clients come in through referrals, and it's because your network really matters. And that's what we'll be talking about today. Relationships are the lifeblood of your business, and you got to build those out. But it can be intimidating. It can be a little bit hard when you're starting off and you don't have any relationships to begin doing that. I know I feel uncomfortable when I'm going to networking events and I don't know anybody, but Josh is here today to talk to us about that and to learn how to build those real, authentic relationships that continue and make progress for our business and for our social lives too. A lot of my network are friends now. So I'm going to bring Josh on right now, and I'm excited to talk to him. Hey, Josh.
Hey, how are you, Sarah?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for joining. And I know we had to change dates before, so I appreciate your flexibility.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, we're here now, so this is exciting.
We're here. Can you introduce yourself to anybody who might not know you already?
For sure. So I am Josh Irons. I'm the CEO of River Avenue Digital. We're a full-service marketing agency located right outside of Philadelphia.
All right, cool. And is there anybody in particular that you work with your agency?
No. So, I mean, we are pretty much industry agnostic, and we started in professional services. And then when you start a new business, opportunity knocks and presents itself. And then all of a sudden you're doing fashion, you're doing technology, you're doing real estate. So we have a nice a different mix of types of clients. So every day is truly different.
That's fun. A nice full portfolio.
Yeah.
All right. So how can people grow their network when they're first starting off?
Yeah, so I'm glad this topic came up for us because this is exactly what I had to do. So firsthand experience here. I was running a large agency that was based out of the Midwest. So I lived in Philadelphia, and before I did that, I was in a position where I had more of a national network. Mm-hmm. When I started River Avenue Digital, I was like, what, I'm going to plant my flag in the ground in Philadelphia and grow this business from here. But wait, I have no network. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I put my ego aside and I asked for help. I asked somebody who I trusted and knew. I said, who should I talk to? Where do I begin? And I think that was an important first step of asking for help. Mm-hmm. And once I asked for help, I started getting introductions to people. I started meeting new people, meeting them at coffee shops, having having lunch with people. And it was an investment of time and money on my part. But at the end of the day, I ended up joining 3 or 4 different networking groups that had the same values and belief systems that I did, which was about building relationships and transparency, not just giving somebody referrals, because I find that pretty annoying. Do you have your referrals for the rest of the group? No, not this week. All right, then get out.
I've never been part of a group that was like that. Those exist?
I've been to a few places where that was kind of the vibe. And I mean, it was business, but at the end of the day, you want to build these strong relationships that last forever. And I think also you want to work with people who understand that you're playing the long game when you're networking.
Yeah.
It's not the short game of, all right, did you give me a lead today? No, you didn't. I'm building a relationship, and hopefully we can help each other. And if not, let's just help each other other ways. And now I have a whole bunch of trusted advisors that I work with that I can call up, pick up the phone, ask them questions. But it all starts with asking for help and finding out where good networking can happen.
So how did you decide who to ask for help?
It was somebody I trusted. I needed to start somewhere, and I got one intro to somebody. He introed me to a group. I started meeting people through that group. They started introducing me to other people. So it was almost infectious. Like one thing led to another, that led to another, that led to another. And I got to the point where I was like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm doing too much networking. I need to really scale this back, and it's got to be quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how do you decide which avenues are the quality?
Mm-hmm. So I got to a point where I said, all right, I'll talk to anybody, anytime. I mean, not the guys or girls who shout out to me on LinkedIn and say, hey, we might know somebody in common. Can we talk? No, that's not the type of person. But if somebody introduces me to somebody, I look at it as a great opportunity to meet somebody new and hopefully build a relationship. But I started getting involved in a lot of different groups. And I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to choose 3 or 4 groups at a time. And the ones that bring me the most value from the relationship perspective, I'll stick with. If one starts fading off, I'll replace it with something else. But I can't do more than 3 or 4 at a time, or else I'm going to not do the things I need to do to move my business forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. You can't just socialize all the time. So how did you find those groups?
It was through referrals and references. I would really dig in with people and find out what made these groups tick, and how they move, how they got together, the frequency, the cost of them, and just weigh all those different things together and find out which was the best fit for me and my business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was groups that I encountered where it ended up being 50 financial advisors, 4 real estate agents, 2 small business owners, and all that happened at those groups was I was getting pitched financial services, and I was like, you know what, this may not be the one for me, because that's not what I'm looking for right now. Nothing wrong with that group. I'm sure it's people find it great, but just wasn't right for me and my business.
Yeah. Do you find that you get pitch slapped the most on LinkedIn with financial advisors? Because
my goodness. And what I normally do is, I mean, I run a marketing agency, and I always write back, does this work for you?
When you get those like 7 messages in a row and you're like, I haven't responded to one. Why are you?
I know. And it's like, these financial advisors, they see the initial CEO next to somebody's name, and they assume, oh, they have money. They must need some financial advisory services. And
let me take some of it.
And I know. And I was like, if my financial advisor only knew all these other financial advisors were talking to me, he might get jealous.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So going back to this, where are the best places online that you meet people?
Online, I tend to not do that well online, meeting people. Obviously, and through email is great, but it's the personal connections that really move the needle for me. I mean, a guy that I know that I met through networking reached out to me. He's like, you know what? I think you and Rich are going to really hit it off, and there may be an opportunity for you guys to work together. There may not. I don't know. So Rich and I met for lunch, and we had a blast. It was like I've known Rich for 20 years, and we couldn't wait for the next time we're meeting. We're having lunch again next Thursday. But then Rich introduced me to 5 other people in the last 3 weeks, and I had conversations with 2 of them. And I mean, that's kind of how the network builds. Online, it's a little bit blind. I mean, we do digital marketing and lead generation for our clients, so it's a little bit colder, and you have to nurture it a little bit more. But when you have that personal connection with somebody, and you both know the same person, you have something to talk about right away, and it makes it a little bit easier to ease into a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if someone has introduced you, like, hey, you get along with this person, you can still build that relationship online.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I like to start on a Zoom call or meet somebody for coffee. I mean, there's nothing you can compare that to.
Yeah, you can't build your relationships the same way that you can online.
Right.
Most of the people in my network I have met online, and they're all over the country. But it's always nice when I can actually see someone in person. I
Absolutely.
have a small network that's actually in the Chicago area. Most people that I'm friends with are East Coast, West Coast, not here, not Midwest.
Right.
So the majority of your networking groups then are in person?
They're transitioning back to in person. I think some of them did the virtual thing very, very well. And that was exciting. But now that we get to meet in person, I'm all about it.
Yeah, yeah. It's always nice when you get to go out and put on real pants and see people.
I know. We were discussing that yesterday. Like, just what are some of the rules in your workplace? And somebody's like, it should be pants, because I don't think any of my employees wear pants anymore.
Yeah, I just posted a picture this morning of, like, all right, I'm recording today. Here's what I look like on the top half, and here's the bottom half. I'm still wearing pants, but not pants that actually go with the shirt. So when you're building out these relationships, and I'm sure during COVID, you couldn't be in person and have those, that normal, authentic relationship that you usually get when you're in person and you're meeting someone. So how do you stay authentic and reach out to people when, it is a networking opportunity?
If people are at these virtual networking events, or a real in-person networking event for the right reasons, it's easy to connect with them because they want the same things you want. The people I find that are difficult to connect with are ones I probably don't want to connect with anyway. And I always say that within networking groups, there's people who want to just check a box. Somebody once told them in a seminar, hey, you have to network, it's important. And like, okay, I'm at this event, check the box. I'm networking, look at me. And at the end of the day, those people aren't going to be able to build a relationship with you or care to.
Yeah. Well, along that same vein, what about people who are super introverted and might have a hard time approaching someone?
And yeah, that is a challenge. And I don't have that challenge. My wife has that challenge. But when you find the right group or the right group of people, it becomes a little bit easier because you have the same goals. And no one's going to judge you. No one's going to turn their back on you. And it takes practice. And if you're able to do it a few times and see that it produced something worthwhile, then it becomes easier every time you do it.
So practice.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about practicing, and you get into a rhythm, and you nail down your elevator pitch that people will understand and learn about your business from, and then you become memorable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. So when you're building these relationships, you're meeting someone new, what is your strategy for following up with them so that relationship doesn't end that event?
I'll normally connect with, if I get a stack of business cards, or if I'm looking at a Zoom call and I jot down people's names, I'll reach out to them as soon as I can through LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like the first touch point. Then if there's somebody I'm really interested in learning more about and meeting, I'll shoot them an email if I have their email, and connect that way and say, hey, let's grab coffee, or let's schedule a Zoom call. And just being mindful of people's time and make it as efficient as possible and effective.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there anything that you want the audience to know that I haven't asked you?
I would say networking is such an important piece of building a business, no matter what business that you have, and it is a perfect starting point, and it builds that foundation for your business. The other piece of advice I'd love to give, and I mean, with the work that you do, you're all about this, but have a story to tell, a memorable story that people won't forget. And that makes you stand out from the crowd, because what differentiates you is important. And what becomes memorable about you is also important. And that way people say, oh, that's the guy from, River Avenue Digital. I forget his name, but I know the company story. And I want people to leave with something that makes me memorable.
Yeah, I like that. So maybe before, like, if someone were to watch this video and take action on it, before you go to a networking event, have this story in mind that you would be able to tell, so you can, it more easily comes to you when you're in the moment, if you feel uncomfortable or if that's not your thing.
And write it down and bounce it off people that you know, and say, hey, what do you think of this? Does this kind of tell my story? And that'll help you immensely.
Mm-hmm. And how can people find you online?
You can find me at riveravenuedigital.com. That's probably the best place to find me. And obviously LinkedIn. If you reach out and say that we know somebody in person, I'll probably, or somebody mutual, I'll probably ignore it. But otherwise, come with a good pitch, and I'll open right up to you.
Yes. So don't say, hey, LinkedIn said that you and I both have the same connection. Let's connect.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to do it.
I don't want to hear that for the 15th time a day.
And how can people work with you?
Again, find us at riveravenuedigital.com. We share a bunch about what we do, and something interesting that people are kind of gravitating towards now in our business is our fractional CMO service, where we kind of fill the role of that chief strategist and also execute. And we'd love to work with more people that way.
Yeah, that's a definite need for those small businesses that don't have a marketing department.
Yeah.
For sure. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Sarah, this has been awesome. I appreciate it. And if anybody wants to talk networking or start networking with me or Sarah, reach out to us and we'll be happy to do it.
Sounds like LinkedIn is your place of choice online. Same with me. So look us up, and we're live on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all the places. Yeah. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. That was a good episode. Thank you so much for joining us on today's live stream or podcast, wherever you're listening to this. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and we will see you next time.